Let's see. Didn't start the video. What the hell's happening here today? Good Lord. All right. Is that better? Give me a thumbs up if that's better. I got it fixed now? I can't tell what's going on here. It looks like everything's working on my end, but apparently it was messed up. So it's better now. Okay, cool. Then I guess I'll just go ahead and restart things. I'm not sure what all went down there, but I think we're gonna be okay. My goodness gracious. It's weird because it is the same tap tap tap, right? Yeah, it's the right mic. Everything looks good. The levels are fine. So anyway, let's get to it here. I'll try and burn through the beginning parts of the show, and we'll get into the thing. All right. Again, John, Casino Gaming Central, ABCs of Gambling, letter R today. All right. And again, before we get into it, right, the why behind the show, the why behind me, the why behind all of it, right? And again, I've got a lot of good friends that do channels, right? Ken's Gambling, Greg from 555 way back, Jacob from Wage Me This, Jerry from Color Up, Joe, right? There's a lot of people out there that are doing good work to help you not get bankrupted. We're doing the good work because we know the casinos are doing the bad work, right? They exist in a world where the entire goal is to take every cent from their customers, right? Just the way that they operate. And it's not evil. I mean, it's evil to some degree, but it's just the business model. The business model is what it is, right? They don't care where your money came from. They just care that you brought it and that you're giving it to them, right? So anyway, we exist on this channel for this exact reason, right? How can we help you navigate that? How can we help you walk through that fight, right? Where your bankroll is the one physical tool that you have, right? I mean, the rest of it's physical, right? Your risk levels, your identification of opportunity, how much discipline or you have or don't have, your goals, and of course, if your emotions are into it or out of it, right? All those things matter. If any one of those is out of whack, you'll have a problem, right? Most of the channels out there that are doing like we do here, like Waylon does, right? We're just trying to help out. We're trying to give you some advice, something to sink your teeth into, so these things can be a better part of your toolkit. That's the idea, right? So as you listen to me and others, filter through this lens, right? And learn, hopefully over time, how to separate bullshit from reality, right? As my dad would say, separate fly shit from pepper. There's a lot of fly shit out there. There's some really good pepper though, right? And hopefully you're getting some pepper every day from the show. That's kind of what I'm hoping for, right? So let's get into it here, and we'll go to the ABCs. Now, the ABCs of Gambling was this, I thought was a cool idea. A lot of the things that I say are repetitive, right? We talk about the same stuff all the time. And I wanted to find a better way to frame it, right? So we did the Gambling 101 to 401 series, which was pretty tactical. This one here is more in the air, I suppose. But I like the idea of finding every day some fun words to talk through that start with each letter of the alphabet. So today we are on the letter R, and talk about some risk today, right? Most gamblers pretend that doesn't apply to them. They think about winning. They dream about jackpots, not spending much time calculating the real probability that they're going to go broke. So we'll change that today. We're going to go look at risk from a few different angles, your personal tolerance for risk, the rules that can change the odds against you, some of the math that runs behind the machines, and we'll look at the risk of ruin formula a little bit too. And we'll also tear apart those beautiful Baccarat scorecards, and I'll show you why the casino gives them to you for free. And then we'll take a look at how you get tracked as you're playing. So with that said, let's go ahead and let's jump into it. And the first thing I want to talk about is your risk profile. So this is a real situation, right? Two players can sit down at the table, right? Side by side, the same bankroll, the same game, the same bets. Let's just call it Baccarat. So we both win or lose. We make the same bet, the same amount, right? $25 bet, whatever it is, on every single hand. We leave with the exact same money. Up whatever, down whatever, right? One of us, let's say we both win $150, right? One of us is going to be stoked, right? I'm up $150. One of us is going to be pissed off. And why is that? Why would two people who had the exact same experience at the table have a different experience emotionally at the end of the session because they have different risk profiles. And I think that's interesting to me, right? The psychological bit of that, right? The math nerds don't really talk about this very much, right? Gambling, it's more than expected value. It's more than that negative house edge, right? Gambling is about how you feel when you're doing it. The casinos are trying to bankrupt you, but they're selling you an experience, okay? Your risk profile, to me, is the answer to a simple question, right? How much variance can you handle without it ruining your experience or your judgment? Let me rephrase that or restate that. Your risk profile answers this question. How much variance can you handle without it ruining your experience or your judgment? Okay. Some people can lose 5 sessions in a row and not give a shit. Others will spiral after one bad night. Some players like that rush, the high volatility, the big swings, the big emotions, right? The huge long runs and crap. But some people prefer a slow grind of low variance play, right? Where nothing bad or good happens. They just kind of stay in the action longer, right? Or they grind out that win. Neither person's wrong, okay? At the end of the day, and I'm telling you, I've done the analysis, right? At the end of the day, you can grind out a 10% win. Look for that to be your goal. You could go 0 or hero. At the end of the day, both players will lose all their money. It doesn't matter. The house edge gets everybody in the end, right? It's a matter of how long it takes to get there. And it's also a matter of what are you doing while you're doing it. If Ken, who I know is a grinder, if I said, you have to play this way, you got to follow my bets, and we were pressing and doing all kind of crazy shit, he would go into asphyxia, right? When a $12 six became a $300 six, he would lose his fucking mind. I know it, right? Some of you who only play that way would lose your minds if you laid the 4, got a don't pass out, and then placed the number and won $12 100 times in a row. Some of you would want to pick out every hair by one, right? It's about how you view risk. You got to know yourself first, then pick the game. Most players, I think, aren't in touch with that. What is your real risk tolerance, right? They think you can handle variance until it actually hits you, and it smacks pretty hard. The first bad losing streak, it'll be kind of like a revelation for you, right? So I think it's better to be honest up front than learn it like the hard way, right? So take an assessment, and I'll show you one here. Let me go switch up to my browser screen, and I'll show you what it looks like. This is the that's for later. This is the risk assessment profile that we have as part of the app. And it's a short quiz, but it tells you a lot about who you are, right? And as I'm going through this, answer the questions yourself, right? Can you describe a time when you won big? How did you react? Did you cash out? Me, I cash out. Did you chase the win? Stay for longer? Or did you go to a different game? Stay in the casino? I would leave the casino. That's me, right? When you face a big loss, what did you do? You leave the casino, get more cash, borrow, right? No, I'm out, right? Have past gambling experiences influence how I play now? Well, are you more conservative now because of what happened to you in the past? Do you stay more focused? Do you take more risks, right? I'm more of here. Over the years, I'm less conservative. I'm not as risky, but I stay focused on what I'm doing. I'm more trusting of my strategies, right? What is my total budget per session? Okay, that's more than 500. How much of my DI do I typically give to gambling? About 10% or so, right? How do I feel about using my winnings to gamble further? I will reinvest a small portion. I don't reinvest them all, and I don't just scrub it all away under the mattress. I'm in the middle there somewhere, right? What's my reaction to losing my entire budget in a visit? I would be this. I would be disappointed but prepared for it. How would you feel about that? Willing to accept it as part of the experience? Some people go to Vegas and it's like, hey, if I walk away with anything, I'm happy. How comfortable am I placing high stakes bets? I'm pretty comfortable with that, but you may not be. When choosing bets with low house edge and a high house edge, which do I prefer? I do a mix. I don't really worry about the house edge. I bet what my strategy needs me to do, right? How do I react to a winning streak? I tend to press my bets aggressively when I'm winning. I'm much more of a throttle down guy in that situation. My motivation for gambling, mix of fun, potential for profit. You might be here only for entertainment, or trying to just, screw the casino. Either way, right? When I set a budget, do I set a win-loss limit? Right? Me, always. Some of you, maybe never. How often do I gamble? I would say regularly. Now that I've moved, it's more regular. And then here's the end of the quiz here, right? How many am I at the casino typically? I'm a short in and out kind of guy. Some of you guys want the long action. And the last question is, do I tend to increase bets after a loss? I say no, right? My bets rarely ever change. And here it is. I'm a 25 out of 45. I'm a moderate risk profile. It gives me some characteristics, right? This is an important test for y'all to take. There are, by the way, bigger tests. I got to go back to, hold on. I got to go back. I'm on the wrong layout. So give me a second to get back over here. I need to go here. We're already on that screen. And I got to go to Keynote, right? There we go. Oh no, wrong one. Let me go here and then here. Nope. There. All right. Sorry, I don't have a button to go backwards like that, but know where you are, right? And that's just our risk profile. It's 15 simple questions, right? There are risk profiles that you go like investment websites for like Edward Jones and that kind of thing that are hundreds of questions long that really dig in to how you view risk, especially with long-term and short-term investments. That information is invaluable. Knowing where you stand helps you make better decisions. And again, going back to that first scenario of the two guys that both had the same bankroll, both made the same bets, both won the exact number of times and the exact amount of money, their experience is different. One guy's pissed, one guy's happy. That's risk tolerance. That's a here. That's a head. That's a psychological thing. It's not a physical thing. So just be in touch with it is what I'm saying to you. All right, here we go. Next up is the rules variations. Now, I think we know this, but let's go over it, right? Not all blackjack games are created equal, right? There is, stand on soft 17, there's hit on soft 17, there's Spanish 21, there's no bust black, all these different rules. Not all craps tables have the same odds. Not all video poker machines have the same pay tables. Not all Baccarat games have the same rules even. And most players, I think, don't bother to check. They're just going to the table, right? Blackjack is the obvious one. There's two main variations, right? A table that pays 3-2 on blackjack versus 6-5 blows your house edge by about 1.5%. It's enormous, right? Over 4 hours of play, that's the difference between losing 30 in EV and 80 in EV. That's more than double your money expected loss. It's crazy. Don't even start on the Spanish 21 or the 20 or the 22 bust tie blackjack game. They're the same basic game, the same basic strategy cards, but everything else is different. And because of different rules, the outcomes can go all over the place, right? And again, can you double after split? Can you surrender? Can you resplit aces? All these different variations matter. They all matter. And the edge changes and the basic strategy changes based on the game you're playing. If you know one and comfortable with one variation, stick to that one, find that game, right? Craps, very similar, right? You've got some games that offer 10x odds, right? If you want to be an odds player, cruise ships offer 1x odds. You'd be a fool to bet the pass line and 1x odds on a cruise ship, right? But that's what they do. You're stuck with more action on that flat bet than the lower house edge odds bet, right? In some casinos, the pass line bet is required to make an ATS bet. Some casinos, it's not. That's a major tax, by the way. I did a big analysis on that. If you're required to play the pass line to play your ATS, that's sucking thousands of dollars. I mean, unbelievable. I don't know what the house edge changes on that, but man, the difference on that and the same set of dice rolls, it's thousands of dollars difference for you. If you're just doing a 5-5-5 and a $15 pass line versus a 5-5-5 all by itself, it's unbelievable how much money that sucks out of your life, right? But again, it's a rules variation. If you're going to be an ATS player, I would never play at a table that made that requirement. Never. I would never do it. Just don't. I mean, don't do it. If you're going to play the ATS, play it at a clean table, please, right? Are the props on craps paid 15-2-1 or 15-4-1? Again, giant house edge difference, right? Video poker is even more dramatic, right? You have two machines side by side. I've seen this side by side machines. One pays 9-6 on the house and the flush. One pays 8-5. That's a 2.5% swing. It's double what the blackjack swing is on 6-5, 3-2. Double the difference to you in your bankroll, right? one of those games is beatable. One of them is not beatable, right? And Baccarat players, we're not off the hook either, right? There's a game out there called Easy Bach. It looks like regular Bach. The cards are dealt the same way. Your bets look the same. Everything is the same, except there's no commission on the banker, which you're like, wow, that's amazing. Baccarat with the regular Baccarat, you got to pay the commission on the banker one. This one here, no commission. It's beautiful, right? How do they get around that? Well, they always have a way around it. The side rule on that one, they get money, right, on a 3-card tie or a 3-card 7 for the banker. That one weird hand is a tie. The banker can win on a 3-card 7 and you still tie. That's where the commission went, right? That increases the house edge. But if you don't know that, you're going to get jacked by that. And that's a real thing. So we have to, like, I think as a group, sort of like agree to like pay attention to what the rules are. They're going to get their money either way. They just moved in these games where the edge is. The different rules and the same math that you were thought was good is different in both cases. And in Baccarat especially, you get that deal where you're tying on a dealer win. There goes your streak betting, right? You had a win and a bet on banker, but it freaking tied. That's crazy town, right? So do some homework. Spend 5 minutes on it. Understand the different variations of the games you like to play. That's all that it takes. Check the rules before you sit down. The math don't care. The math don't care that you don't notice, by the way. It just takes your freaking money. So again, same game, different rules, different math. If you don't do your homework, it's going to cost you a little bit. All right. There it is. All right. Now let's get to the next. The next one is going to be, let's see, what are we doing here? The next one is RTP, simple, return to player. This is the slot machine, right? We talk about this mostly in slots, right? It's not broken when you lose, by the way. The slot machines are working as they're supposed to, right? They're returning like 92 cents for every dollar you put in. Think about that. Every dollar you put in, they're taking 8 cents off it, right? That's when you see a 92% payout, that's what that means, right? Know it before you press the button if you're a slots player. Every gambling game, by the way, has this number that tells you what it's designed to do to your bankroll. It's called return to player. And I think most people don't look that up. And it's easy to think, if you think about it, right? A slot machine with a 95% RTP is programmed to return on average $95 out of every 100, which seems great to you, right? You're not getting your ass kicked that much, but you kind of are. It's not per session. It's over millions of spins, right? So the remaining $5 goes to the house. Now you might win $500 on your first session or lose 200. The RTP doesn't care about your individual experience. It's a destination or a journey for the machine to take, not for you to take, right? Over enough play, everything converges towards that average, okay? You might be the big loss or the big win along the way, but it matters because slots aren't all the same. And sometimes they're labeled, right? One machine might be 98%. The one right next to it or right behind you might be 88. In the old Harrah's in Vegas, remember where they had the lady and the guy, right? That's gone now. There was a bank of machines there that were 99% payout. Right, like, wow, 99%, that's a great RTP. Literally, the bank behind them was 82, which is the lowest Vegas would allow at the time. Literally, 99 here, 82 3 feet away. Because those machines are always full, people turn around and play these machines. Right? Again, not thinking. Understand the rules of the jurisdiction that you're in. If they publish it, believe them. If they publish it, it's got to be true, right? Online slots will show it in a help menu somewhere. Physical machines, you may have to research and find where they are. For table games, RTP depends on your strategy. We know what the expected, like in craps, the expected house edge, the expected RTP is 98.5% because you've got 1.5% house edge on pass line, don't pass 6-8, right? Roughly. That's their expected RTP. They expect to hold about 1.5%. They actually hold about 16% because the RTP on table games depends on you and you doing dumb shit that goes beyond what they expect. Just truth, right? Blackjack with perfect basic strategy is 99.5%. But if you play it wrong, you're giving up 97%. You're giving back 2.5% by not playing basic strategy. Just like I said, when the rules declare themselves, follow the freaking rules, right? Super easy. All right, next go. Next up is the risk of ruin. And here's a little math formula for you. This is one of the most important things. It's not the formula that matters here, but this is one of the most important things I'll ever tell you about gambling. And everybody sit up and pay attention. If the casino removed every house edge, they will still take all your money. If every bet paid exactly fair, if every bet was an odds bet and paid exactly probability, they would still take all your money. They would still bankrupt you. Not maybe, mathematically certain. Okay. And let's talk about why. Okay. And we're going to forget about house edge, forget about strategy, and just imagine a perfectly fair coin flip, 50-50 bet, no edge for either side. Okay. You bet $1 and flip against the casino. You have $200. They have $200 million. Who goes broke first? Who's going to go broke first? There's going to be streaks along the way. There's going to be variance along the way. Which of you can outlast the other? You will be the one that goes out of money. I guarantee you're not going to beat them, right? More than 200 times out of 200. You can't. It's not even close. Okay. There's a mathematical theorem called the gambler's ruin theorem. And this has been proved centuries ago. When two players play a fair game repeatedly, the probability that the smaller bankroll goes to zero approaches certainty. It's guaranteed. Okay. Your probability of ruining the casino, 0. It's like point and a million zeros and then a 1. It's impossible. Okay. And it's not because the game is unfair. It's because the bankrolls are so unequal. You can never catch it up. It's why Waylon, right? He's here this morning, right? These negative progressions, right? The laddering systems, right? They work because of bankroll, right? He uses bankroll. Guys that play negative progressions use bankroll as the hammer. More bankroll than the most players would use because they can work their way up and down the wins and the losses, right? Bankroll in that case is a hammer, but even that can't stack up against 200 billion. The casino never runs out of money, right? Which is interesting. They don't need the house edge to beat you. They're happy to have it. Don't get me wrong. The house edge pencils out. It's projections. It's based on volume and occupancy rates and seasonal events and all that kind of stuff, right? They don't need the house edge to take your money. It's nice though because they can budget with it. They can say the house edge, blah, 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 is this. We're going to budget this based on the number of people that come. Accountants love that kind of stuff. But the reality of it is we would all just give it up. I guarantee it. The sheer size difference between your bankroll and theirs, it's enough to guarantee it. Okay. Time and repetition do the rest. Every time you return to zero against an infinite bankroll, you're walking into a barrier, right? It just is what it is. Now you add the house edge and the 1% chance of you losing your money turns probable ruin into accelerated certain ruin. And that's why we're guaranteed to lose. It's not just the fact that they have more money and an edge, right? So there's your formula. In this case, P is the probability of winning, N is your bankroll measured unit, and that's a simplified version of the formula. It's actually a bigger calculus. But if you ran the numbers through it, right? If you had a bet like blackjack, 49% win probability, and you have a 100-unit bankroll, your risk of ruin is about 87%. 87%. Go to 200 units and it drops down to about 76%. So the relationship between the bankroll size and your survival, it's pretty direct and math-based, right? I ran the Dallas Drawdown for a while, which had a 78% win rate, by the way, right? That drove, and because of what I was winning when I won, my risk of ruin was only about 0.5%, believe it or not. But I was over, right? I was winning at 78%, not 66% like I should have, right? When I run it at that, my risk of ruin almost triples. Right? When you start getting more towards statistics, right? So for players with a positive EV, even in positive EV, the blackjack counters, right? Risk of ruin still exists, right? If you have a 1% edge and you bet half your bankroll every hand, you're going to bust out because the casino has more money. The Kelly criterion we talked about in letter K exists to solve the problem. It gives you the maximum you should bet relative to edge. and your bankroll. Okay. So for a regular gambler like us, the takeaway should be simple, right? Your bet size relative to your bankroll is the most important betting decision you can make. How much you put at risk per decision determines how many decisions you get to make. And the decisions end up being the runway. Let me explain that. And you can look at this from two ways, right? A $500 bankroll with a $5 bet gets you 100 units of runway. Okay, $5 bets, $5 bankroll, you have 100 cracks at it, right? If you're doing $50 bets, you get 10 cracks at it. It's 10 betting units. Okay, but that runway isn't everything. Reducing the risk of ruin also makes winning almost unattainable. Now, that's going to sound weird, but the $5 player has a lower risk of ruin than the $50 player in that situation. However, the $5 player will never win. Why? Because you got to win. You got to outpace the house by 20 times. The $5 player has to win 20 or more times than the house does to get positive. The guy betting $50 has to win twice as much to win $50, has to win twice as much as the house. That's it. It's different. Bet sizing matters in terms of winnability, time, reducing all those factors. The risk of ruin can be lengthened by smaller bet sizes, but you guarantee yourself not being able to win. It's definitely one of these interesting math problems that I find most people don't care about or understand, but it's the reality. And again, if the casino played you straight up, you would get hammered. Now let's look at the roads really quick here in Baccarat. You walk in any Bach pit, you'll see the players, they're writing down stuff, right? They're tracking patterns with the colored circles and the lines, like they're decoding the matrix or something, right? And they're doing what they call following the roads. And maybe you never heard that term before, but I'm going to show you what they're doing and why it doesn't really work. So some players have got 3 or 4 of these things going at once. There's electronic boards out there helping you out. Players that care study this stuff like they're reading a stock ticker, right? And again, there's the roads. There's basically 5 roads you can follow. You ready? Here, let's take a look at the roads. Okay, the first one, and I'm going to have to do which screen? This screen here. Does that make it work? Yeah. This is the bead road. Okay, the bead road is simple. It just goes up and down. So from the top left, it goes down, and then you go to the next column to the rest. So it's from 4, 3, 8, 8, whatever, to 3, 9, 5, 3, whatever, right? Top to bottom. It's very simple. No pattern logic. They mark ties in green, banker in red, player in blue, and they put the number inside the circle of what the score was, right? That's it. Just gives you kind of a sense of what's going on in the shoe. The next one is, let's go here again. The next one is called the big road. This is the one you're probably used to seeing. It's the most common way to track Baccarat. It's a grid of, again, colored circles, red for bank, blue for player. And the results, they stack them in columns as long as one side keeps winning. So what you see here is on the left-hand side, 2 blues that are stacked up in the first column. That's 2 player wins. Then a banker win, then 2 player wins, and they color it in. It's a natural. They circle it, right? Then a banker, then a player, then 4 bankers in a row, 2 players in a row, 4 bankers in a row, right? So you can see what's going on there. And they put little dots and stuff on here so you can kind of notice like when a pair happens or whatever. It's easy to see the chop. It's easy to see the streaks in the big road. That's why it's the most common, normal way to look at things, okay? But after that, you get what's called the derived roads. And these are weird. These derived roads are weird. I'm sorry. I should mention this too. In the big road, you might have a big streak, the dragon tail, we call it, right? The dragon tail is interesting. If you look at this third column, you have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bankers in a row. Okay. You get something like that, boy. Whew. That's the difference between somebody like, one person betting with the shoe there is putting a house payment down, right? They're buying a new house. Somebody who's betting opposite of the shoe is probably looking for a loan, right? That's interesting when you see the big tails. Again, does it matter? No. All right, let's go next one. Next one is again, these are the long tails that can go crazy town. Look at that that 4th and 5th and 6th columns. Look at those tails. It's crazy town. But that's how you got to keep track of it because you run out of room on the cards. All right. The back roads, I call them, right? Or these are divergent roads. They call them derived roads. That's the official name for it. These are weird and interesting. There's the big eye boy, the small road, and the cockroach pig. And I'm not going to try and help you understand these things. What these are basically telling you, if they're tracking this way, is whether the shoe is behaving consistently or inconsistently compared to earlier in the shoe. So you're looking kind of at current, but back at history and seeing is the shoe doing the same sort of thing in sequence. These are all derived from the big road, but they're offset by different numbers in the columns. Red means, the shoe is repeating its pattern. Blue means it's breaking pattern. Players use these derived roads to decide which side to bet. They'll say things like, oh, the big eye boy went 3 times, so the shoe is streaky, ride the banker, that kind of stuff, right? But here's the real deal. All of that is an illusion. Okay, it's just bullshit. I mean, we can talk about this ad nauseum, but every hand of Baccarat is dealt from a shoe. And while technically the composition of the shoe matters, if you're counting cards, I guess, it can change what's coming slightly. But just like blackjack, the effect of counting cards is so negligible, every hand is basically independent. What happened in the last hand, or the last 10 hands, or the last quarter of the shoe has zero to do with what's going to happen on the next hand. This is superstition in paper form. This is people like writing down on a piece of paper there. I've watched games. I have stood behind games, and I'm not lying to you, right? Baccarat is an excruciatingly slow game sometimes, right? You get these people, and I'm telling you, you got 6 people sitting down. It's a $100 game. They're betting purple chips, and they're all writing on their little cards, and they get their purple chip, and lady goes, bam, banker. The other guy with the same fucking card is going 2 purple chips on the player. They look at the same card, and they're betting purple chips on, and they wait for like ever, and they go, oh, bang, and they make a big show of slamming their chip down because of what the fucking card said, which has nothing to do with reality. The card has nothing to do with reality. It matters not. 2 people looking at the same card make completely opposite bets because they read the data interestingly different from each other. None of it fucking matters. None of it matters. When I see this in the idiot boards, it tells me that streaks happen, which is cool because it plays into my philosophy of, catch a little bit of a run and get the hell out of there. People who read these charts, like their astrology charts, I'm telling you, it's superstition personified. The casino literally hands you the card and colored pencils so you can do it. There's no way they would do that if it worked. No way they would let you write it down if it mattered. It's useless information. So they may be beautiful. They're elaborate. They track randomness. That's all they're doing, right? The casino gives them to you for free because they keep you betting. And as a matter of fact, for some people, they make them bet more. They get their emotions into it. They try and outsmart the game. They bet more money. That is a trick. That's a trick. Ken is in chat. I know he is. There's 3 ways to bet. Maybe 4 ways to bet in Baccarat. That's it. It's all bank, all player, follow the shoe, opposite the shoe. That's it. Everything else is a stroke job. I'm sorry, but that's just the rule of it. That's the reality of it. Don't let anybody out there ever tell you or sell you on the difference of that, because Baccarat is easy, but a very volatile, very streak-ridden kind of game. That's just the way that it is. All right. I think that might be it. No, we have one more thing to talk about, then I got to go, which is ratings. Okay. You're theoretical. The casino knows, by the way, how much you bet, how long you play, and therefore what you're worth to them. They're tracking you. You should track yourself, right? Every time you give them your player's card, they start the calculator. They're figuring out what your theoretical loss is, your theo, we call it, right? Exactly how valuable you are as a customer. It's very straightforward formula. It's the average bet times hours played times the number of decisions per hour times the house edge. Decisions per hour is the big factor there. It's why they want dealers that can deal blackjack 80 hands an hour. That's why they get pissed off when people take too long to set the dice, my friend Kevin, because they want rolls per hour. The more per hour, the higher the theo for everybody goes up, right? 25-hour blackjack player putting in 4 hours has a theo of about $30. That's what they expect to extract from you. It determines your comps. And I'm going to say this boldly. This is what you are to them. Ultimately, you are a number. You represent how many more light bulbs they can buy by your Theo. That's you. Okay? If they're going to rate you, take what you can from it. But know this, you are a walking dollar bill. You are not John. You are not Waylon. You are not Gary. You are not Kevin. You are not Dr. S. You are nobody but a dollar bill that represents how much money they're going to suck out of you every hour. That's what the rating system is. Now, knowing that that's what it is, you can take advantage of it. There are things you can do, tricks you can pull to ensure that bigger bets are seen at the right time, to inflate your averages. You're not, or you should be asking for comps, demanding comps, never paying resort fees. If you're a regular player, use that to your advantage, right? The big thing you can try to do, right? You don't want to pay too much for the free perks, right? But know what you're worth to them. Calculate your own Theo and compare that to what you're getting back in your comps, and make sure you're getting a fair deal, or are you overpaying for the losses? The only reason I would have a player's card is to get back some of your loss back in comps. That's about it. You're not going to get them all back, but get some back. And trust me, if you don't ask for it, you're not going to get squat. You're going to get what the computer tells you. That's it. There's still people back there that can make some actual decisions. So understand this. And I'll say it again. You are not you to the casino. You are a walking dollar bill. You are nothing but a number to them. They could give two shits about you, your wife, anything else. It's all bullshit small talk. None of it matters. You're a dollar bill. And believe me, as friendly as those pit bosses may be, or the dealers may be, you are their source of income, period. Okay. Now, I think that's all we have here for the letter R. Yes, it is. Hope that was a good one. I know we got off to a crappy start, but understand, risk isn't something that happens to you. It's something that you choose. Every bet, every game, every session, you're making a risk decision, whether you know it or not. Okay. You should know it. They've calculated it, the risk of return. They know what risk of ruin is. They know what the RTP on the games are, right? Don't make it worse for yourself. Risk doesn't go away because you hide your head in the sand and ignore it. Okay. Be honest about it and understand that even in a fair game, you're still chattel, right? All right. Let's get out of here. Let's go here. We'll do a quick little Q&A. I got a few minutes before. Actually, I'm a little late for my meeting, but that's okay. I'll do some quick questions and we'll get to it. Let's see. We have, I swear I'm not ignorant. I've missed some shows lately. Excited. Oh yeah. The tutorial for Nexus. No, not yet. I'm going to film one. I'm going to film a little walkthrough video for that so you can see it. David's been asking me for a while to do that. I think I'm going to film it. Then they're going to probably refilm it because they talk better than I do. But yeah, coming soon. Gary, quit when you're ahead. You can leave whenever you want to. This is not the Hotel California, right? You can leave whenever you want to. There's no reason to stick around, right? If you're up or if your loss is acceptable, get the hell out, please. Let's see. I'm going to go through some quick little run through the chat here. Anything you see in the rearview mirror means nothing. That's exactly right, Dr. S. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to read as fast as I can. The law of large numbers applies to casino. No one sees a million rows, but you kind of do. I mean, if you stacked up all your sessions, I've been playing 30 years, right? Well, more than that now. I'm 57, so I've been playing for 37 years, 36. My God, right? 35 years. Let's call it 35 years. Make a nice even number. Believe me, in those 35 years, I've seen probably 100,000, if not more, between Baccarat, hands of blackjack, Caribbean stud when I was playing, all the craps rolls I've seen. Easily I've seen 100,000 or more total outcomes. So my life, your life should be approaching law of large numbers in terms of the total number of bets you've placed, not in a single session. The math guys rely on these big runs that show you a single session. However, your sessions stacked up are a long session. You have to look at that as the truth, right? I think all your sessions stacked up become one long session when you remove the chop of weeks in between. So, all right, I'm going to go. You guys have a good day. I'm going to leave you with our thought of the week here, which is this: legacy is not what you leave behind. It's what you leave in other people. So my old bosses used to say, you know, as a manager, your job is to pour into other people, right? Enable them to take your job. That's what you want. You want to build people who will take your job. And quick shout out on that note to my son. My son got a major yesterday, a major promotion at his job because of this. He's a great manager. He increased the numbers of his store. But more than that, everybody from his store got promoted twice. He's making great people. His legacy is great people. That's an important thing to leave behind. So congratulations to Zach. Proud of you, son. Everybody else, love you all. See you tomorrow. Bye.